Good day everyone. We are the group 6. Today we're going to report the rule 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of Colreg. Members is Alipala, Du, Dimaangay, Gitamondoc, and Jugan. Next slide please. Rule 6, safe speed. Every vessel at all time proceed at a safe speed so that she can take proper and efficient action to avoid collision and be stopped within a distance appropriate to the prevailing circumstances and condition. In a safe speed to following factors shall be among those taken in account. Number one is the state of visibility. Number two, the traffic density including concentration of fishing vessel or other vessel. Number three, the maneuverability of the vessel with special reference to stopping distance and turning ability in the prevailing condition. Number four, at night, the presence of background light such as from shorelight or from back scatter of her own light. Number five, the state of wind, sea current, and the proximity of navigational hazard. And lastly, the number six is the drought in the relation to the available depth of water. Next reporter, please.
Rule 7. Risk of collision. A. Every vessel shall at all time I shall use all available means appropriate to the prevailing circumstances and condition to determine if risk of collision exists. If there is any doubt, such risk shall be deemed to exist. B. Proper use shall be made of radar equipment if fitted and operational, including long-range scanning to obtain early warning of risk of collision, and radar plotting of our equipment systematic observation of detective object. C. Assumptions shall not be made on the basis of scanty information, especially scanty radar information. D. In determining if risk of collision exists, the following considerations shall be among those taken into account. First, such risk shall be deemed to exist if the compass bearing of an approaching vessel does not appreciably change. 2. Such risk may sometimes exist even when an applicable bearing change is evident, particularly when approaching a very large vessel or a tow or when approaching a vessel at close range.
Rule 8. Action to avoid collision. Part A. Section A. Any action to avoid collision shall, if the circumstances of the case admit to be positive, made in ample time and with due regard to the observance of good seamanship. Section B. Any alteration of course and or speed to avoid collision shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, be large enough to be readily apparent to another vessel, observing visually or by radar. Succession of small alteration of course and or speed should be avoided. So part in section B, you should maintain a safe speed to maneuver your vessel and change your course easily. And section C, if there is sufficient sea room, alteration of course alone may be the most effective action to avoid close quarters situation, provided that it is made in good time, is substantial and does not result in another close quarter situation. So in section C, this if there is enough distance from the other ship, it is good or better because you can still alter your course to a safe course and to avoid the incoming vessel. Section D, action taken to avoid collision with another vessel shall be such as to result in passing at a safe distance. The effectiveness of the action shall be carefully checked until the other vessel is finally passed and clear. Section E, if necessary to avoid collision or allow more time to assess the situation, a vessel shall slacken her speed or take all way off by stopping or reversing her means of population. So in section A, you need to slow your speed or maybe stop to avoid any collision from other ship. Section F, Part 1. A vessel which by any of these rules is required not to impede the passage or safe passage of another vessel shall, when required by the circumstances of the case, take early action to allow sufficient sea room for the safe passage of the other vessel. Part 2. A vessel required not to impede the passage of or safe passage of another vessel is not relieved of this obligation if approaching the other vessel so as to involve risk of collision, and shall, when taking action, have full regard to the action which may be required by the rules of this part. So part 3, a vessel the passage of which is not to be impeded remains fully obliged to comply with the rules of this part, and two vessels are approaching one another so as to involve risk of collision.
Rule 9, narrow channel. A vessel proceeding along the course of a narrow channel or fairway should keep as near to the actual limit of the channel fairway which lies on the starboard side and practicable. So, para di sa maka-avoid sa collision sa narrow channel, kailangan butikis na sa starboard para mag each ship na head-on kay passing by sa port para di sila makabangga sa narrow channel. A vessel less than 20 meters in length can navigate within a narrow channel. So, a vessel na less than 20 meters, di sila mo unpaid nga or di sila mo babag or mo alis na masangko a ship. So, rule F of a room line. A vessel nearing a bend or an area of narrow channel or fairway where other vessels may obscured by intervening obstruction and shall navigate with particular alertness, caution, and shall sound the appropriate signal prescribed in Rules 34. G. Any vessel shall, if the circumstances is admit, avoid anchoring in a narrow channel.
Rule 10. Traffic separation. A vessel using a traffic separation cam shall proceed in the appropriate traffic lane in the general direction of traffic flow for that line, a lane. So far as practicable, keep clear of a traffic separation line or separation zone. Normally join or leave a
Section G. A vessel shall so far as practicable avoid anchoring in a traffic separation scheme or in areas near its termination. So bawal ang mga barko na mag-anchor di dapit sa traffic separation scheme or kan dapit sa traffic separation line. Section H. A vessel not using a traffic separation scheme shall avoid it by as wide margin as practicable. So kani mga barko na wala magamit og mga traffic separation scheme, dapat din sila mo dapat i-avoid gyud nila ang pag-anchor. Section I. A vessel engaged in fishing shall not impede the passage of any vessel following a traffic lane. So kani mga fishing vessel dapat di na sa moharang sa mga uban vessel na nag-follow sa traffic lane. Section J. A vessel of less than 20 meters in length or a sailing vessel shall not impede the safe passage of a power-driven vessel following a traffic lane. So kan mga barko na 20 meters in length or sailing vessel, bawal gyud ni sa mo harang sa agianan sa barko sa mga power-driven vessel na nag-follow sa traffic lane. Section K. A vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver when engaged in an operation for the maintenance of safety navigation in a traffic separation scheme is exempted from complying with this rule to the extent necessary to carry out the operation. So kani mga vessel na restricted in her ability to maneuver, exempted din siya sa rule 10. So atong uban barko dapat muli kay sa iya kay nakuan man siya restricted in her ability to maneuver man. Section J. AL. A vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver when engaged in an operation for delaying, servicing, or picking up of submarine cable within a traffic separation scheme is exempted from complying with this rule to the extent necessary to carry out the operation. So kay mga barko na kuan na nag-servicing operation like taking up of submarine cables dapit sa traffic separation scheme, exempted gyapon ni sila. Kay naman sila gibuhat na importante. So that's all. Thank you for listening.